What's up, guys? In this training, you are gonna learn all about how to have a conversation with a seller over the phone. And as a matter of fact, I'll even show you my cold calling script and how I use it when talking to sellers. All right, guys, so everyone is always concerned or asking or worried about having a cold calling script. Well, first, let's start with one thing. There is a formula or a process, let's say, when talking to a homeowner. Now, if you are cold calling, there tends to be one strategic way to start that conversation, and I'm actually going to show you my cold calling script further along in this training. But the idea is two different things. One, I want to make sure I have the right data. So I want to make sure I'm actually talking to the homeowner. If I'm calling a homeowner and I'm actually not talking to the right person, I'm already working uphill. I'm already starting a uphill battle where it doesn't need to be. So skip tracing and good data is really paramount. Two, I want to make sure they have any interest at all in selling. I don't care if they want to sell today. I don't care if it's a one-call close. I want to know, do they have interest in selling? What's happened now is people are getting inundated with calls and texts and direct mail. So I want to get straight to the point. And there is typically several responses that a seller will give you. The first, if you are using my script and doing this correctly, the first response tends to be, how did you get my number? That response is very, very common. Even if they don't want to sell or if they want to sell, you're going to get that response. And one of the best ways you can simply overcome that is to be upfront and honest with them. You want to let them know you bought data from a data company regarding this neighborhood and you are calling homeowners in this neighborhood. That's it. It doesn't have to be creative. You don't have to lie. You don't have to make up a story. You bought data from a data company specific to this neighborhood and you started calling homeowners in this neighborhood as you want to buy an investment property, right? And so number two, after they might say, where did you get this number? Number two will be, well, how much are you going to offer me? Or something like that. They're going to say, well, what's your offer? How much are you going to offer me? Or some way of asking that question. And that's where you got to stop them and stop the conversation and get into the script, which I'm going to be showing you here momentarily, and basically let them know, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, if you're just looking for a number, that's probably not me, but if you're interested in selling, I would like to continue our conversation, right? That's your answer. Because again, people are getting inundated these days with cold calling, text messages, voicemail drops, direct mail. They're everywhere, right? And rightly so. We're in marketing and sales, so you need to be doing it too. But I will stop the conversation there if they just want a number. I want to make sure that they're very interested in selling and having that conversation, and you'll see that here in my script. Another answer that they're going to have for you is simply, no, I'm not interested, and they're going to hang up on you. Now that is pretty relieving. You know exactly where they stand. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry. You go on to your next call. And then lastly, they might say, well, yes, I am thinking about selling, or they might have an answer saying, I've thought about selling, or I'm talking to a realtor about listing it, or something of that nature. This is where you need to now dive into the script to really get an understanding of what they want to do. Now, before we get to the script, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to review my script. Before we get there, I want you to understand one thing. A script is so you have a foundation for what you are going to be saying and the questions you are going to be asking. If you decide to memorize the script and become a robot, you are going to lose all interest from the seller. They will be able to tell that you're just a cold caller and you are memorizing a script and you're reading from a book. You lose that connection. You need to make sure you understand the script, you memorize a portion of the script, but really you need to be yourself. Really, you need to have a conversation that really is meant for you, because I will promise you this, I will have a different conversation with the seller than you, or with anyone else or any other guru out there, my style will be different. What I say, how I say it will be different. The fundamentals will be the same. The questions I ask more often than not will be the same. Those are the things that you want to be memorizing. What questions do you ask? When do you ask them? But you need to come off natural. You need to be authentic, right? They will understand, they will feel that. If you come off like you memorized this script, you'll have a complete disconnect and likely not be able to get anywhere. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna jump into my script. All right. So here is my cold calling script, but regardless of you actually cold calling or just getting on the phone with a seller for the first time, this is a script I really encourage you to use. Now, again, this is meant for cold calling. So, hello, I'm looking for homeowner Fred, right? I always want to verify that my data is correct. Now, again, as I mentioned, if your data is incorrect, you're already starting from a super far negative. Now, I will say this, it doesn't mean you actually can't get a deal from that call. So I would not get overly discouraged. There have been times, few and far between, when we have made calls and our caller says, "Hi, is this Fred?" And they say, "No, this is John." And you say something to the effect of, "I apologize, I actually have the wrong data. I was actually calling in the neighborhood to see if any homeowners were looking to sell." So you immediately apologize for the mistake in your data and then start having the same conversation you would if you had the right data. So again, moving forward, if this is the right data that you are looking to use, and if this is Fred, you would say, "Hi, this is Justin. I know this is totally out of the blue. I was calling about a property I believe you own, 123 Main Street. I just wanted to see if you have given any thought or consideration to potentially selling here in the near future." And you shut up, okay? That is the key. You gotta be quiet after you ask that question. This is where the seller will have their chance to ask you questions, such as what I said previously. How did you get my name, number, and address? How did you get my data? What is your offer gonna be? What, just send me over an offer. No, I'm not interested in hang up with you, or yes, actually I have been thinking about it. That gives them the chance to get you an answer to your question. Do not just ramble into more and more questions and kind of rambling on, right? So if the answer is yes, or how much will you give me, you have a couple answers that you can come up with. The first one I like to go with, if they say, "Yes, I'm interested," is, "How long have you been thinking about selling?" Now, if they do go with the answer of how much is your offer going to be, or what's your offer, whatever, some iteration of just trying to get a number out of you, I stop them and say, "Hey, while I'm trying to give you an offer, I absolutely will. I do need to know a little bit more specifically about your interest in selling, such as like when or how much, or what are some time frames that we possibly need to go with. So let me ask you, how long have you thought about selling?" I shut them down because, again, people are getting tired of being inundated with marketing, specifically those that don't have a high interest in selling more often than not. But just because they ask that question, it doesn't mean they're not interested. It just means you need to build a little bit more rapport so they can understand who you are, so that you can actually effectively have a good conversation. So again, I'm trying to first figure out how long they've thought about selling. And then, as you see in bold, I will then go into, why have you not listed it on the MLS? And then, why are you thinking about selling? Depending upon the, will switch any or all of those questions around, right? But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that they are thinking about selling, that they want to sell in the next 12 months, and then to have a conversation. If they keep harping on price, what's your offer, what's your offer? I just shut it down ultimately and say, "Hey, Mr. Seller, listen, I do want to give you an offer. It just doesn't seem like you want to sell as a moment in time, and that is actually okay, because I don't have a number right now to give you. So if you're not that interested in selling, or doesn't seem like you are, that's okay. Just let me know and we can both move on." And again, you want to be quiet there. That's the point. You want to be quiet as you are doing that. When you ask that question, allow them to answer, because it'll be interesting for you to find those individuals that seem to be all tough and ask you for that answer, but then ultimately they will actually bring to the point of, well, I am thinking about selling, but I'm about to walk into a meeting, so I figured if you had an offer, you'd give it to me. Do you want to call me back later today when I have a little bit more time to talk? You will get those people and they will actually say those things, and that allows you to actually have a real conversation. So just because they might on the front end of this conversation be defensive or have a wall up, that doesn't mean you should not continue to push forward in having a conversation, specifically asking them, have they given thought or consideration to selling their home? How long have they been thinking about selling? Or why they haven't listed it on the MLS. Now in bold, you will see right here, this is where you have to pay attention. When you ask a question, you need to shut up. You need to pay attention, because this is where you will hear their pain. And as if you watched any of my trainings on salesmanship, negotiating, you understand you are listening for pain or a problem that you can be a solution to. And then you need to go attack the pain, not in a malicious way. I am not telling you to be evil or malicious in any way, but you want to go attack it in a solution-based offer that can be a solution to their pain. The whys, the hows, the whats are the most important part, because it connects them to the reason they are selling and gives you the opportunity to be a solution. Why are you selling? How long have you thought about selling? What are you going to do when you sell? Those questions make you a solution. If you've watched any of my other trainings, and I encourage you to watch other trainings. In fact, if you like this training, go ahead and like the button, give me a thumbs up, and make sure you are subscribing to my YouTube channel. If you are doing any of that, if you are in negotiation, make sure you're asking those questions, because you need to attach yourself to their pain. You need to align your values with their values, and you need to be a doctor who can prescribe your patient, which is the homeowner going through the pain, the best solution. This is how you should start any and all conversations, whether it's a straight cold call, or maybe they're calling in from your direct mail or calling you back from a text message, whatever the case may be. This is how you start the conversation. There will be further trainings on how to continue that conversation down the line. But again, if you're liking the videos, make sure to like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and actually go check out some of these other videos. I guarantee you they are going to help you in your business. I hope this finds you well. If you need anything more, you can jump over to 𝐷eScienceOfFlipping.com, 𝐷eScienceOfFlipping.com. I have plenty of resources over there. I will see you guys soon. Peace.